For what seemed like several impossibly long moments, all I could feel was a sensation of plummeting weightlessness. The light in the elevator flashed on and off, and the screeching in the metal rang out painfully. Then, much to my stomach's discomfort, the elevator gave a grinding call of metallic grief as it shuddered to an uneasy stop, sparks spitting in from holes in the corded frame. Emergency stop must still be working. Now we should hang around to test it. Vertigo observed as he pushed me off and looked up. Oh, really? That's so reassuring, I grumbled, trying not to fall over with the internal discomfort churning within me as I rose to my hooves. Now you have a plan to get out of here, right? I asked as the elevator gave a dangerous moan. Give me a second, he said as his horn glowed, straining as the hatch at the top of the elevator was forced open. Then with a flash he vanished and reappeared on top of the elevator, peering down at me as the thing lurched dangerously. I felt my whole body shudder and the gripping in my gut grow as I looked up at him, seeing nothing but the dark shaft and the distant light of fire coming through one of the doors far above. Then Vertigo shifted over to the edge of the car and the whole thing shunted uneasily to the right. By goddesses, if you don't stop moving, I'm going to kill you, he called as he peered down over the edge of the car. Don't worry, we're almost at the bomb, he assured me. Then he teleported back inside with a flash and pointed his rifle through a hole rent in the wall that revealed one of the emergency brakes. I looked at him and the brake, internally cursing. This alien was going to get me killed through sheer stupidity alone. Wait, don't you dare! I called, but he paid no attention to me as he shot a shard right through the brake mechanism that spun to hit that one on the opposite wall. I really was going to kill him. The elevator shanked with a jolt, tilting until he shot out the second brake. Then it fell for a grand total of 2 seconds before it slammed hard into the ground. Vertigo shuddered at the impact, and I fell to the floor as my legs became a weak pile of jelly. He lowered his rifle and looked down at me, the smug face I knew he must be wearing annoyingly hidden behind the stupid helmet. Dare do what? He asked, and held out a hoof for me. Damn it, wasteland, stop making me look bad in front of stupidly good-looking stallions who I don't even trust. Mine cursed, and I shoved his gesture aside as I shakily rose to my hooves. You know perfectly well what. Now you're going to fill me in on the part of your plan to get out of this stupid thing? I snapped, and he simply turned to the door and wrapped it in his magic. The aged metal frame gave a few groans of protest as Vertigo strained. But after a few seconds, the thing was pried open, revealing a long, dark corridor just a step above where the elevator car had landed. Phillies first, he suggested, motioning to the corridor with a forehoof. If you think I'm going anywhere down here before you are, you have another thing coming. I made that fact very clear as I did my best to strain myself and ignore my gurgling in the gut. Vertigo just sighed. And here I thought you were eager to get out of here. Oh well, if you insist, he replied as he stepped up and out of the hall, flickering on the light attached to his helmet. Once again, I really tried not to look at his flanks as he moved ahead of me, and gave a disgruntled snort of irritation as I moved out after him in the dark hall, activating my Pip-Buck's own light. All the while I was checking my new EFS for red bars. It was an odd change of pace for me. But while I was getting used to it, I really hoped the hostiles I could see milling about were those of the robots above us. Well, now what? I asked, watching Vertigo as he peered left and right down 2 branching corridors. Now we have to find this place's mainframe and see how it feels about whatever you have on your Pip-Buck there, he answered, nodding at my foreleg. Really? You came all the way down here just to see how my Pip-Buck would play with the building's mainframe? I said as much, but he just nodded. I don't know if you heard, but getting to a building like this is pretty hard even for a pony of my talents. Bringing into the most secure files of a place like this one is not impossible unless you're exactly the right program. Or more importantly, you, really need whatever information we can find down here, he explained. And why do I need it? I countered, not liking where this is going. Well, you want to save your friend and find out what's going on, don't you? Of course that would be his response. fought the urge to face him as he started trying along one of the corridors towards another large metal door at the end, with a slightly smaller room to the right. Okay then, fine. What exactly are you looking for? I went on, playing along with this little game best I could without wanting to just shoot him. I have no idea. Just a big thing with a lot of wires and terminal screens is what I usually go for, he said with a shrug. Right, why did I always have to be the one to get stuck with such clueless ponies? I mentally sighed as Vertigo reached the large metal door at the end of the corridor and tried to push it open. Pony feathers, that thing won't budge, he declared, then nodded at the doorway leaning off to the right. You want to try and make yourself more useful? Go see if there's an axis, a switch in there. He instructed, and I felt my frustration spike. Seriously, I wanted some kind of saddle blanket there for him to boss around. Yet again, all that my stubborn pride was telling me, I did as I was told. But nothing else would only result in getting out of here and back to Cherry Fest. Checking my EFS for any hostiles that may be in the room and deeming it clear, I cautiously stepped through the door. It led out into a gloomy office, rather similar to the one Hayland had under the Destiny Corporation building. There was even a big window to my left that looked down into a dark space. This one was far less well kept, however, and was shattered in several places. A faint light shone through the window, and I saw that beyond the broken glass was a mostly collapsed catwalk that led around the upper circumference of a large circular chamber. In the center of the chamber was a tall spire of wires, pipes, and screens that led up into the domed ceiling and fanned out like the roots of some kind of odd upside-down tree. Around the middle pillar were several empty frames that appeared to have once held some kind of tall rectangular objects, but such things were long gone. More cables linked out from each of the empty frames and led up into what was left of a reinforced glass box surrounded by monitors and spindly robotic arms. Other tables, and even rows of chairs sat around the room's edge, as if it had been used to display experiments to crowds of ponies. Many of them even had black glasses still resting in the seats. On Equestria? I asked myself quietly, looking back at a desk that sat facing the window. The wall behind me was bare, save for a few small cracks in its otherwise pale on surface. In fact, aside from a terminal on top of the desk and the chair behind it, the room was rather unfurnished. I saw another fiery green flash from where I left Vertigo in the corridor. My ears perked and I moved to see what he was up to. For that, there's a deep beep in the corridor lit up with an ambient red light. Access denied. All staff below clearance level Alpha access to main facility chamber suspended. Please await termination. The tiny mirror's voice sounded as alarms began to chime. Termination? Seriously? It says she had beta class clearance. That's supposed to be high. Sounded an odd feminine voice from the door. A voice that definitely wasn't Vertigo's. Upon hearing the stranger, I bolted towards her. Then in turn dropped from the ceiling right above it and quickly opened fired. The stranger's voice was the last thing on my mind as I instinctively rolled to the side, Bills digging into the carpet. My insides felt like they were still rolling long after I came to a stop and levitated my rifle up to melt the turret into green goo. A few shots of plasma later, and I did just that, allowing slag to drip onto the floor, sizzling the carpet. Hey! What the did you just do? I called out into the hall as laser shots flashed past the door towards Vertigo. Attention, attention. This area is restricted. Please stand down and allow us to dispose of you quietly. A robot chimed from somewhere in the corridor outside as Vertigo returned fire with Sting. Sharp swoosh of the weapon's needle projectiles was followed by a clunk of fizzle as the robot he was firing at fell to the floor. It took the free moment to dive into the office. He still looked exactly as he did when I left him. I suppose I just had to ask him about the odd voice I'd heard at the time when neither of us were being shot at. Attention, this is a restricted area, boomed the far deeper voice of a sentry bot. The sound of its heavy treads accompanied by the grinding of metal as it crushed the small robot Vertigo had just taken care of. I thought you said you were supposed to be good at this kind of thing, I asked, fixing the buck with a glare. I expected an equally witty comeback as he turned to me, but I couldn't help but notice he wasn't really looking at me, or behind me. I felt my mane stand out on the end as I swallowed and turned as a hiss of steam escaped a large panel in on the wall. It was then I realized the cracks weren't cracks at all, as the rectangular slab of the wall fell away to reveal the red eyes of another sentry bot. Of course it's a f***ing robot, why not? God, sis, you've got to be kidding me! I cried as I jumped under the desk and the robot raised its beam minigun. Right, now I can be disintegrated instead of being blown up or falling to my death in a stupid elevator car. Painful memories of Heyland came to mind as a Gatling laser's rifle began to flash and burn through the desk. Here's the terminal. It's an executive one. There should be a way to turn the stupid thing off. Vertigo instructed, drawing back from the door as the second sentry bot rolled up to it. That thought, I telekinetically yanked the terminal down and hooked it up to my bitbook. Come on, you little miracle worker, please don't fail me now, I pleaded, closing my eyes as random bars of code started to flash across the screen. But then with a telltale boop, the thing flashed to life and I was greeting with a flash of Oracle logo. Oracle Executive Access granted. Welcome, Professor, Moon Dancer. Next to the text read out several options presented themselves on the screen. Then seconds sent glimpse an option labeled security. Accessing, I quickly found another anti-intruder functions and immediately hit the first thing I to say off. Primary defensive directive terminated. Backup directive reinitiated. Disposal of all non-essential Oracle personnel. Priority run. One sentry bots round in the deep metallic voice before each of them regarded me with a rather unnerving level of detail. Attention. No alpha clearance level identification recognized. Please stand by for termination. What? I called, as both robots resumed firing. Vertigo darted back from the door, firing several quick shots at the sentry bot in the doorway. If the shards of metal did a little more than slow the armored monster for a few seconds. Damn it, I'm really starting to hate this place. What? I thought you were going to shut them off, he went on. I did. But apparently this place doesn't really care about their own ponies unless there's some high and mighty egghead. And true or not, we're still on the execution list, I explained. Wow, and here I thought this place was going to be a lot easier, he responded. And I fought the urge to face Hoof once again. Yeah, you're a real ton of help, you are, I snapped, looking back to the screen and tucking as several energy blasts darkened the scales on the top of my helmet. The smell of singed hair as the metal underneath heated up really became my motivator as I looked at my pet buck and slammed it against the side of the desk. Come on, you stupid logic box, if you're going to do something, you better do it now, I cursed, really hoping something really didn't want to keep me alive. For an unbearably long moment, nothing happened. A few minutes later, and there was still nothing but Gatling laser fire. I levitated out my rifle. If these things were going to kill me, then I wasn't making it easy. Sorry, Cherry, I whispered as I looked around the covert and fired several bolts into one of the robot's heavily armored hides. The plasma did a little more than make a glowing hot bruise upon the dark gray metal. Nothing sort of balefire egg was gonna blow these fucking things up, I mentally cursed. Warning. Oracle error detected. Secure systems compromised. New targets designated. Executing command. Like that? The robots all stopped, going to raise their Gatling weapons and missile launchers to point at one another. New targets? Oh shit. I ducked back behind the desk. As the pair opened up on one another with intense volleys of beam fire, the unending onslaught of magical energy began to strip away the armor of each robot relatively fast. But when I failed to kill each of them quick enough, the missiles went off. Everything inevitably ended in a fiery explosion. Blast shook the whole room, ripping away at the walls, the desk, and shattering the window. I had nothing but my armor to protect me from the hurricane of flames and sharple. I closed my eyes, grabbing the closest thing I could use as an anchor and prayed to goddesses that the whole building didn't come down on top of us. Then the air went still save for a crackling of the flames that burned from the robots' broken bodies. A few seconds after that, I finally opened my eyes, vision flickering in my visor. You plan to do this every time we're almost blown up? Vertigo asked as I looked up to see what I grabbed was his torso. In the same instance, let go and staggered back. Yeah, definitely ask him out first. No, just no. I mean, he's very hot and not a victim like Cherry. He... No brain. I didn't say a word. Nor did I really want to think about the awkwardness in the air as the dust settled and the smoke drifted out into the large room beyond the broken window. Peering around the desk, I saw that most of the room's walls were scorched black. The far right wall, as well as the corridor that had been beyond it, had been replaced by a mound of rubble. Great! You really were almost buried alive, my mind chirped. My eyes did not linger on the destruction, however. Instead, my eyes were drawn to the flickering terminal screen. Security failsafe activated. Shutdown attempt denied. Custom self-termination protocol activated. Have a nice day. I stared at the words with a whole slew of other random code and gibberish scrawled around them. Then it all winked out and the scene went dead. I looked at my pit book. Was wanting to kiss the thing? I was terrified by it all at once. It had saved my life again. But the reasons why were rapidly becoming a serious concern of mine. Hey, don't blaspheme against my pip book. The part of me that was just happy to be alive retorted. No, that's why I knew you'd be useful down here. Vertigo said as he sat up and rubbed some dust from his helmet with a forehoof. You mean my pip book's useful, don't you? I corrected sternly, but he just shrugged. Yeah, but you're much prettier to look at, he joked, retrieving a vial of particular green liquid from a bag in his armor, opening a small hatch around his muzzle and taking a sip. What? No. He was still clenching his chest and forehead as he levitated the vial of green liquid back into his bag. Did the scratch marks in his armor, several large wounds ran across his blade coat, and they were glowing? Faint green hues seemed to emanate from the deep gashes as they closed. How f***ed up was this buck? What was he? A mutant? Ghoul? Tainted? A crazy raging demon pony? Then I recalled his gesture from the elevator and offered him a hoof. He looked at me curiously. Then at the helpful gesture. Gosses, I know I may have brushed off your kind offer. Did every pony have to be worried of me trying to help them? Thanks, he said as I helped him to his hooves. So, you going to tell me what this is really all about? I asked, moving my helmet and putting on my best cute mirror expression as I motioned to the last remnants of his old wounds. That didn't seem to faze him. So he just moved past me and placed a hoof on the terminal. What? You've never seen some crazy shit like that out here? Zebra elixir? Nothing more. He told me as I set my helmet on my back. Now, if you're looking for answers about the killer death robots, then you're straight out of luck. Because I have no idea why anyone would program them to kill their own staff and remove the shutdown command. I just hope they all self-terminated, he explained, glancing out of the window. Is that your mainframe? I asked, unplugging my pip bug from the terminal and stepping up beside him, nodding towards the pillar of terminal screens in the center of the large room. I don't know. But what I do know is that would be an odd place to put in one because Oracle has a big obsession with hiding them, he elaborated. Yeah, did every pony try to hide that kind of information before the war? I asked, and he laughed. Sure, but you're really not seem paranoid yet. Now if you want to do something else, take a look around, he added, instantly darting over to the part of the wall the secure sentry bot had emerged from, riding at the mill in search of any kind of secret. Try to find yet another secret in one of these gases forsaken buildings? I thought to myself, and instantly set my eyes back on the terminal and levitated back to the desktop. Hello, Moon Dancer. Bye, Celestia. It's been such a long time. I'm glad I could finally get a connection in Desert Springs. This is Twinkle Shine from the Mass Hub in Carolyn. We went to Celestia School for getting unicorns together, remember? Not saying I'm saying you should remember me at all. That was a long time ago, and well, everything's stressful nowadays, and you're such a big professor and all. Anyway, I've been told to inform you that Twilight Sparkle herself has taken an interest regarding your work and wishes to come see the project for herself.
There will also be representatives from the Equestria Science and Research Foundation. I am also supposed to send you a checklist of all the things that must be prepared before the Ministry Mayor's arrival. You know how Twilight can be with her lists. She once said she'd have made this call herself. You're one of her head researchers, after all. Like, well, we all know there's no free time around here anymore. Anyhow, I hope you can get back soon with confirmation. I know communications over there are going haywire with the excavation. Well, I know this is going to sound kind of informal, but I hope you're happier where you are now, Wind answered. Because I like to think we're still friends, and you don't remember me and other girls anymore. But, listen to me. Sorry. Have a good day. Goodbye.
Vertigo banged on another part of the wall as the recording died, taking Twinkle Shine's flushed voice with it. The recording was one of the few I could find on the terminal, and it was rather old, older than even the day the world had come to an end. Almost everything else important seemed to have been wiped from the terminal. Probably something to do with the fact that they ordered their robot security to slaughter every pony that employed that wasn't some big shot, I noticed suspiciously. Below the recorded message was an attachment containing the checklist of seemingly unnecessary preparations, ranging from sea ordering and orientation to the number of ice cubes and the refreshments. Words, yours sincerely, Twilight Sparkle, written at the bottom. Twilight Sparkle? She was just another pretty face hiding a whole plethora of dark secrets. They were all the same. Mystery Mayors, the princesses, stable tech. I sighed, slumping down on what was left of the blown-up chair and scrolled right down to the bottom of the terminal's contents. Then something right at the end caught my eye. Safe room door controls. My ears perked as I leaned forward. Then I glanced at Vertigo as he continued tapping hopelessly on the back of the small space the hidden sentry bot had come out from. And he said he was supposed to be good at this? His one desire to simply spite the bug welled up within me, and I grinned wearily as I selected the option and told it to open. For a few long seconds, there was nothing, and I sat up straight, looking around the room for any secret compartment that might open. When that failed to happen, I sank back down, mildly disappointed. Then there was a small beep, the sound of a heavy door swinging inwards, and a profane yell from Vertigo as he fell into the hidden room muzzle first. Hooves and horseshoes! He called as I looked over to see the back of the rear of the space he was testing had opened to reveal a new room. Fucking stupid door, he groaned, sitting up and rubbing his helmeted muzzle. I got up from the chair and trotted over to him, shining my light into the dark space as the centuries-old air and dust escaped from within. Told you to be a hidden door. Found it no problem. Vertigo boasted as he raised back to his hooves. Yeah, of course he did. I murmured slightly as I trotted past him. Now come on. I don't want to be down here any longer than we have to. The room was shrouded with darkness. With the green light of my pit buck, I can see it was a long space with a row of terminal screens covering the upper half of the walls on either side. Below them, the counter covered the dials, buttons, and switches still flickered. Wires were strung overhead, and the faint hum of still working electricity permeated the still air as the rattle of our hooves on the middle floor chimed. Taking another step forward, I saw that the room opened out towards the end, sinking down the step into a slightly larger square chamber in which there were several blocky rolls of electrical equipment. Wow. Somebody really wanted to keep an eye on this place without anybody else knowing it, I observed as I brushed the hoof over one of the dusty control panels, seeing flickering camera feeds from random parts of the building. Like I said, we really haven't seen paranoid yet. Vertigo commented as he moved past me and down to where the room widened. This looks promising, though. There's gotta be a make from access point in here. He added as he moved over to one of the large machines. I turned my attention to the terminal screens that still radiated a dull green hue, levitated over a dusty stool that had been left in one corner of the room. When I sat down, some of the screens flashed a series of code, and I shifted back in my seat. Okay, as much as I had saved life a few times, this was now getting kind of creepy. As if not to be disillusioned by my uncharitable thoughts, code dissipated from green to red and then vanished a moment later.
Ah, now you've gone and made it angry, Dragonfire. My murder, and I tried to ignore it. Making my miracle pet book angry was not something I wanted to do. Even if it did freak me out. That was when the terminal right in front of me flashed alive with more than just code. First appeared the logo of Oracle. You notice the words. Data logs access granted. Accessing terminal is surveillance file 201. Please stand by. Surveillance footage recovered. Do you wish to play? Yes? No. I squinted, making sure what I was really seeing was actually there. And I got a very eerie feeling as I glanced at my pit book. Did somebody want me to see something? Why? The question ran ominously through my mind, and once again curiosity sank its claws into caution and ripped it aside. I couldn't hold the fact that I really want to know, despite how nerving it was, and I quickly pressed play. First image I saw was blurred by stack and colorless. It did not take me long to recognize the large cylindrical chamber as one just outside the building behind us. Or if it was not that one, there was another one very similar. The version on the screen looked far newer and well lit, however, despite the image's poor quality. And then I saw the rows of seats filled with ponies, each one wearing a pair of dark glasses. There were two seating areas, one on the opposite side of the room and one below where the camera was situated. In the middle of the two was a set of 3 chairs. One was empty. Another sport a unicorn mare with a mint green coat and dark and light mane, body covered mostly by a lab coat. Scientists sat nervously beside the unmistakable form of Twilight Sparkle, who herself was flanked by 2 ardent Pegasus scars. Then the movement of another pony as she entered the camera's view caught my attention. In the blurred image, I could just make out her cream coat as well as a mixture of maroon and purple in her mane. She too wore a white lab coat. She stood before the tower of cables and wires in the middle of the room, the web now crackling with an orange energy. The frames they were connected to were not empty, however. Known within each was an odd pillar of silver metal, most of which were mirrored by shimmering ornate pattern and radiate a dull glow. Connected to them was one of the glass boxes I just shattered, and within them was what appeared to be parasprites. Fillies and Gentlecloaks of the Ministry of Arcane Science, Ministry Mare. Free Mare looked over at Twilight in particular, and the Lavender Mare almost appeared to fidget a little. My fellow explorers into the unknown. I am Professor Moondancer, she declared. You are here today to bear witness to the revolutionary applications of this new element, what we are currently calling Element E. So if you would please put these on for your own protection, she added, and turned to the tower, leveraging a pair of black glasses over her eyes as the rest of the crowd did the same. Seconds later, she began pressing buttons and pulling levers on the tower's console. It gave a spark, and the camera feed flickered as from it more of orange energy began to pulse, creating visible winds that battered the scientists. Get right to the point. What you are able to witness will change the war, and then the world, Moondancer declared, flipping one last switch. As she did so, a bolt lanced from each of the wire pillars and into the main structure. The metallic structure each began to thrum, buzzing hum coming from the experimental device as the shielded spell enveloped the glowing spire. It built and built until the whole thing was like a rod of pure light within the magical field. And that arched out from the mechanical tower to the box containing the parasprites, and the creature were struck by an orange lightning. The sound was the elephant E excavated from the fissures others say have proved quite fascinating. It seemed that when the right kind of magical stimulation is applied to it produces a form of energy like no other. We have taken to calling it primal magic. For now, as it seems to be the basis for all form of energy through the world itself. We could hardly see through the bright lights the Moondancer went on. Within seconds, it had faded to reveal the smoke interior of the tank. The parasprites were dead. They had to be. I thought as I leaned closer. The slamming of multi-limbed fusion of something with gnashing teeth, razor-sharp legs, burning orange wings, and silver metal tendrils. and lashed out at the glass proved otherwise. The crowd gasped, recoiling a little. Twilight's guards led to protect her, and once it was clear the monster could not escape, they relaxed. Twilight herself leaned forward, eyes focused right on the new monster. As you can see, Element E has a rather violently responsive to any bioelectrical current, once again acting on the basis of the energy within the subject itself. This leads to the creation of what we like to call neuron dynes. The basis for all potential life on the quest seems to these new dynes can also be programmed. As evident by the creature, this could possibly be used for almost sped up a life form's very evolution. When Dancer elaborated, stepping forward, what I and our scientific team here at Oracle have proposed is research into the application of this effect on ponies. As of now, the only hypothesized method creating and controlling the primal magic is Element E. The end goal of this proposed research is the creation of an army of highly evolved of super ponies. At those words, Twilight sat up and moved over to the professor. Moondancer frowned as the ministry mayor offered to smile. Moondancer, right? She asked. The professor nodded, pushing up her glasses. That's correct, Miss Sparkle. We went to Celestial School for getting unicorns together. She responded, a faint glimmer of hope in her voice. Sorry, I don't recall. So many things going on these days that it's hard to think back that far. Finally admitted. Moondancer's frown deepened. But this is an amazing discovery! With this, we can win the war in a matter of months, or weeks even. Our number is super ponies. I don't even know what the possibilities of future evolution could be. Alicorns, perhaps. Twilight went on, lifting a hoof to her muzzle. Yes, I think about it a lot. And you must understand that this research is very early stages of development. The flight of the ponies would take far longer. Moondancer responded. Twilight still just seemed lost in thought. This combines with... yes, it's almost possible. She mumbled to herself, barely audible on the camera. I'm sorry, but I must insist that you return to your seat, Ministry Mayor. The site may still have trace amounts of radiation, and your attire is not equipped with the proper protection. Moondancer stated, nodding to the Twilight Sea, glancing nervously at the catwalk above. Of course, forgive my intrusion. This is so great. You should be very proud. Twilight congratulated one last time before trotting back to her seat. Moondancer glanced up at the catwalk one last time. Then, with one cue, there was a metallic twang and the whole thing fell right in front of Twilight, crushing the mint-green mare and her two guards, before swinging to the ground on the cords that remained fixed to the roof. Twilight froze with a gasp, as the whole room erupted into chaos. Moondancer was the only pony who looked out of place in the panic-filled throng. She stamped one hoof on the ground. I almost swore I heard a groan before she wantonly trotted off, flickering her tail against the switch beside the box. A spark of electricity shocked the monster inside dead as the whole system powered off. I sat back in the chair, eyes passing over the other screens in case there was anything else that had appeared on them. Nothing presented itself, and I just remained there for several more seconds before catching a glimpse of something glinting in the corner of my eye. Looking down at the desk, I was met by a broken ventilation grate. Sitting within, along with a few old papers, was a memory orb. I reached out with a hoof, taking the thing and putting it in my saddlebag. Sometimes I think some point when placing these things around just to mess with me, I thought before turning into Vertigo. He was still tinkering with one of the machine blocks, reworking wires, flicking switches as he murmured to himself. Hey, you know anything about this? I asked, and he looked up. A pair of long cords still draped over his head.
Know anything about what? He asked. I nodded at the screen before me. About random surveillance recordings appearing right in front of me. Especially considering what it looks like they captured. I went on. Really? He cocked his head and tried it over. Yeah. Looks like somebody was trying to kill a Twilight fucking Sparkle. I think this may have been an assassination attempt or something. I explained. As he moved over and looked at the screen. Yet the moment he did so, it went dark. Wait, what? Who was talking about what? He asked, looking back at me as all the screens died. Well, nobody was talking about it directly. Someone called Moondancer looked rather pissed that Twilight didn't die though. I informed him and he shook his head. Are you sure? He pressed, and I nodded. Oh, of course I'm sure. Why? What does it matter? Twilight been dead for years anyway. They all have. She always said they were trying to take over the MAS. Why? It doesn't make any sense. He muttered to himself, raising a hoof to his chin. Hello Equestria, the stupid pony. What are you going on about? Would it show you that? He asked. My face contorted in bafflement. What? I thought you were supposed to be helping me find all the answers. I yelled, and he shook his head. I have no idea. All I do know is that kind of stuff was not what I was expecting to find down here. Why would they leave an incriminating footage of that lying around? He asked. I shrugged. I don't think they did. I think whoever wanted me to see it recovered it somehow, I answered. Maybe so. If that was the case, then you'd have to have a very powerful program. More powerful than I was expecting. He went on, tapping my pit buck. God says, I don't understand any of this technical terminal shit. What do you mean more powerful than you were expecting? I'm saying right here, you know. Not some moronic pair that just happens to be attached to a miracle pit buck. I stayed with a stump of my hoof. He turned around, muttering to himself as he moved back to the large bank of machinery he'd been messing with. I stepped out of the chair and moved over to him, shining my light over the wall to what he'd been doing. Massive sparks, blinking lights, empty sockets, and blank screens made about as much sense as his words. There's something in the systems. Wait, how many times did you plug that thing in? He asked, having my pit buck. Just the once. Why? That's all I ever needed to save my flank before, I stated. I'm thinking about the potential to lemonly. See what happens if you hook it up to this, he suggested, now muttering to one of the empty sockets in the wall. I regarded him and his work for a long moment, the sinister issues I'd seen in the terminal still fresh in my mind. Maybe it was a warning? Get out while you still have a chance, kind of thing? Remember what happened last time, Dragonfire? Vertigo caught me staring, and sighed. Look, if you don't like the transcendent, then we're on the same side. All I need you to do is plug it in again, he stated, looking right at me, even as he reached for my foreleg. So you can do what with it? I snapped, pulling my hoof back. Damn. Why do you have to be so difficult? I have a friend in Crossroads that could really do a lot with this stuff. I work for them. They're kind of a technological wizard. If anyone can help you with all this, it's them, finally explained. Crossroads? Down the highway. That was miles away. Wait, I thought he was the one who was supposed to be helping me. I sighed as much, but he shrugged again. The only way you can ever get to them is through me. So technically, I still am helping you. Now, the pit buck of you, please. Grumbling to myself, I reluctantly lifted my foreleg and let telekinesis plug it into one of the sockets he created. Now, this is where the fun begins, he said, flicking a switch. The way he said that made me shiver, and it was hard not to imagine what kind of evil scientists were rubbing their hooves together as they crackled wickedly. Yet, I was more distracted by the rapidly scrolling code that danced across several of once dead screens. Not to mention the screen of my pit buck. God says he knew what he was doing, right? You know what you were doing, trusting him with this, right? Dragonfire?
Mine asks as I feel almost hypnotized by the scrawling code. Yes, come on, you beauty. Give me everything. Tell me how to beat those freaks with their stupid freaks. Vertigo murmured as he watched the code too. Wait, those fuckers and their what? Hey, what do you mean by freaks? You mean like monster ponies? I asked, images of carnage floating about my mind. Vertigo stiffened as he should not have said that. I guess you could call some of them monster ponies. As if you even call them ponies anymore. But you don't need to worry about all that. No, I'm pretty sure I do. Look, I trusted you and gave you access to my pet book. Now if you really want me to trust you, tell me what you didn't before. I pressed and he sighed. Most Inquisitors. Color-coded ones are just charismatic shells. Transcendent have done far worse to ponies. As far as I know, there's only two. But one called the Locust is Stable 54, and, oh, she was pretty fucked up. He explained as he flickered a couple more switches on the terminals. So Mr. Red was not a normal pony? Yeah, he's still normal enough to get taken down by a good smash to the head though, I mused, unable to believe a pony like Carnage would have been fooled by such a thing. So who is Locust? I asked, curiosity getting the better of me. She was just one mare, though she was just another slave when I went in. She didn't have any silly armor. He began, tapping his own armored hoof. Funny, his armor looked a lot similar. Why does those silly islands make him super special or something? Then again, at least he hadn't covered his in that confusing orbital pattern. Well, turns out she wasn't a normal pony though. Let me find out once I got close. She had some kind of control over a swarm of mechanical micro sprites that lived inside her. Trailed off, the memory sickening him as he took a sharp breath. I mean now that I think about it, the big holes in her spine should have been a big giveaway. She was like some damn symbiote. They lived inside her? I asked in alarm, the image, sensation of such a thing making my stomach twist even more. Oh yeah, she started to flesh off your bones in the instant if she wanted to. He assured me in that Shama flat look. And you killed her, right? I asked bluntly. He snorted. I'm stealthy, but I'm not that good an assassin. No, I killed them by all sneaking in and flooding the whole place with radiation from the reactor. Got out before the door sealed. That bitch just ate right through the door and didn't seem to care. She what? Ate through a stable door. That was a stable tech door. Not even Megaspell could get through something like that. By everything, Vertigo smiled at my stunned expression, and right then and there I really wanted to hit him. Yeah, she did. I don't think I needed to explain how uncomfortable knowing a pony like that's out there makes me. Stupid ponies and their stupid experiments. He murmured as if he wasn't one of these same stupid ponies. I really considered what I was about to say next after that reaction. After all he'd put me through, I wasn't really that concerned with his mental state. You ever heard of another one called Carnage? I asked, and he quickly looked at me. You think there's more than just the one left? You're behind that helmet. It was the first time I'd sensed fear in his voice. Given to what I was referring to, I couldn't blame him. I nodded, feeling every detail I'd seen from his armor's flaming mane, and red coat to the way he turned into a real monster after that stuff was injected into him. You're kidding me, right? I shook my head, and he fell forward over the code-filled screen. The shit I do for? He groaned wearily before cutting himself off. Shake you do for what? I asked, edging him with a hoof. He glanced back, and I swear he growled like some sort of dog. I have this psycho swarm bitch, now this Carnage. What a stupid name! He exclaimed, raising his foot hooved in the air. And also, kind of makes this next bit of the plan a lot more, well, interesting. He tapped a hoof to the terminal. What? There's a million different things flooding out of my uninteresting mind at those words. Well, you see, your pet bug there has been doing exactly what I was expecting it to do if it had the chance, he said, gesturing at the device as I instinctively ripped it away. I had no idea what was going on, but I was really not wondering why I trusted him again. Guess you're a stupid pony. Didn't you prove that back under the last creepy science building? This is exactly why I didn't tell you what I was thinking sooner. Vertigo seemed to sink for a second. Tell me what? I demanded. He flicked the switch on the wall. Data transfer complete. Have a nice day. Words appeared on the screen as I gasped and looked down at the device on my foreleg. You transferred everything into my pip-buck? I exclaimed. He shook his head. No. Your pip-buck did that. First time you plugged it in, must have installed a worm. It just gave it the opportunity to get the worm back. It's like it picked up something very interesting and it really hated the Oracle. I narrowed my eyes at him. You lied to me, you little bastard, I growled. If only you knew how incorrect that insult was. One other thing I forgot to mention is that big of a data transfer is very hard to miss. Plus, if it is a Disney Corporation program on that pip-buck of yours, then right about now it should... Before I could finish, there was a loud beep from the terminals. Warning. Foreign artificial intelligence detected in primary core systems. Designation hostile. Proceeding with server wipe. Oracle security has been notified. All access points now in lockdown status. Stated a tinny voice of a mirror over the building's PA system. Seconds later, the whole room shook and trails of dust fell as the boom shot somewhere above. In the same instant, my EFS lit up with red dots like a tree on a heartwarming eve. Goddesses, it was all happening again. Only this time I was stuck with a complete moron instead of my friend. Vertigo looked at me as he drew Sting in his magic. Oracle and Disney hated each other. I did say you hadn't seen Paranoia yet. You. Goddesses, I'm going to f***ing kill you! I screamed. Footnote. Level up. New perk added. Hit the deck. You've been hit by one too many explosives. Perhaps it's time to consider a new career? Plus 25 damage threshold against explosives. Companion added. Vertigo. Really? Are you just a magnet for the strangest of ponies? Oh well, at least this one can teach you a thing or two about being sneaky. Not to mention he's hot. Gain plus 40% duration for stealth bucks and plus 20% damage from sneak attacks while your companion is percent.